So when we're talking about print, print also can be direct mail. It can be billboards. But today, mostly, we're talking about ads in newspapers and magazines. So we'll see. Shelby's helping me get set up here. Okay. Okay, so did you know that 64% of survey respondents said that they read a community newspaper, either in print, 43%, or online, 6%, and 15% read both. So that's a pretty good stat. That is a community paper. So those are papers like ours that are cover just local news and are not the metro dailies. Community newspapers are also the leading source for shopping decisions and advertising content. And out of all these mediums, 79% of respondents agreed that community papers provide valuable local shopping and advertising information. And furthermore, 24% of the respondents rated community papers as their go-to source for local purchasing decisions, which beat out all other mediums. Am I going to be able to see my notes though? Okay. So advertising establishes contact, and I don't want to read this whole slide, so if you guys could read it, that would be good. But it's just talking about how it's a preferred method for introducing your product or service to new clients, or actually converting people that may have already heard about you. It brings awareness and trust, and because newspaper readers are typically early adapters, it's a good medium for that. Advertising builds preference. Consumers believe that buying a familiar brand usually guarantees approval. 81% according to Simmons research. While buying unfamiliar brands is risky, 82% according to Simmons research, brand preference is directly impacted by the advertising investment. So advertising is a proven means of raising a brand's reputation and preference level. I need these to be bigger because I can't see it. I can't see it very well. Yeah. Advertising educates and develops prospects. So consumers prefer to learn about products through ads before they actually talk to somebody. It has become the knowledgeable salesperson missing from stores today too. It turns wants into need and educates and differentiates benefits from features. So it saves you time and money being able to introduce and educate new prospects about your products and services. Ads help sell existing customers more products and services. So one study found that 9 out of 10 buyers continue to look at a vendor's ads after making the purchase. 88% of buyers cite top reasons for reading ads from vendors they have purchased from to learn about new models and upgrades. They also want to make sure that they've made a good decision. So after purchase assessment is important to 43% of all buyers surveyed, and 92% of buyers continue to read ads for a product after their purchase was made. I think we should shut this door because I can hear everybody. Advertising saves time for both you and your customers. Customers believe advertising saves them time and money in comparison shopping, and therefore the customer who has been exposed to advertising is closer to making an informed decision, saving you time and money as well. Advertising keeps you top of mind. People forget fast. Remember, they're bombarded with tons of marketing messages, an estimated 5,000 daily. I'm not seeing any of the notes. Okay. 5 points to keep in mind. If you guys want to know who I'm talking to, it's Shelby. Your competition isn't quitting. Number 2, marketing strengthens your identity. People will spend money to make purchases, and if you don't make them aware that you are selling something, they'll spend their money elsewhere. And it strengthens your identity. When you quit marketing, you shortchange your reputation, reliability, and the confidence people have in you. When economic conditions turn sour, smart companies continue to advertise. The bond of communication is just too precious to break capriciously. Marketing is essential to survival and growth. With very few exceptions, people won't know you're there if you don't get the word out. And when you cease marketing, you're on the path to non-existence. Just as you can't start a business without marketing, you can't maintain one without it either. Marketing enables you to hold on to your old customers. Many people survive on repeat and referral business. Old customers are the key to both. When old customers don't hear from you or about you, they might forget you. Marketing allows your business to continue operating. You still have some overhead, telephone bills, ads, rent, equipment costs, or payroll, but marketing creates the air overhead breathes. Newspapers are trusted. Ad Trust, an Australian study by Reedermedia Works, looked into consumer trust in content and advertising across media channels and found a direct correlation between the two. The ads in news media ranked as the most trusted. In addition, audiences under the age of 35 ranked ads in news media as the most trustworthy. Newspaper readers are the first to buy a new product or service among family and friends. When it comes to building momentum for your brand or your product, appealing to early adopters can be critical. Those early adopters read newspapers. 75% of those who are the first in their social network to try a new product are newspaper readers. Further, readers are 30% more likely to discuss products advertised with their friends and family. Then they will typically go online for more information, according to a report published in AdMap magazine. Newspapers offer valued advertising. For centuries, newspapers have been responsible for credible and in-depth reporting on local, regional, national, and global issues every day. The trust and reliance readers place on newspapers have a halo effect on advertising found within the medium. Research has shown consumers are not only open to press advertising, they rely on it as an essential shopping tool when making decisions. Additionally, newspapers are highly scalable. You can change your ads as often as you want and generally get them to market quickly. Standing out from competitors in a crowded ad market has never been harder, and this is why top of mind for prospects at the early stage of the purchase journey is critical for sales. And newspapers outperform 9 of the 10 tested media platforms for gaining cut through lifting recall, with an average of 1 in 3 buyers saying that they recalled seeing a print ad at the outset of their buying cycle. As protagonists of truth and setting the news agenda, newspapers influence the knowledge and opinions. enhancing the collective consciousness. They've long been recognized what society wants and needs to know. Newspapers were the first forum to voice opinions, incite anger, invoking cheer, despair, and newspapers stimulate emotion and encourage action. Go ahead. Unlike TV or radio, newspapers require consumers to be engaged and active in order to consume the content. Research conducted by Lumen comparing the currency of attention across media formats shows that the average print ad is 5 times more likely to get noticed than even the best performing digital ads. This is why we sell a variety of marketing, because digital marketing is important, but you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater as far as print ads. Print is still very important. According to a report from the Works, regular newspaper readers earn above average salaries. This has pretty much always been the case. Regular print readers earn more than the typical person. Their average salary is about $85,000 a year, which outstrips about $8,600 more than the average non-newspaper reader. Readers' higher earnings translate into stronger spending power. Newspapers are immediate and timely. The short deadlines allow for short runs or long runs, but they can change their ads often, make them a great advertising. From a tiny space to multiple ads on a page to printing through the gutter, you can create almost any ad you want. And with millions of dollars being invested in printing plants, production capabilities are continually improving. It's important to have an effective ad design. Business owners may assume ad design is easy and dabble in copywriting and art direction with little filtering in between, but rather than wrestling with them about rudimentary mistakes that make their ads ineffective, sometimes designers will just put together what they're asking for, and it's not necessarily the best use of space. It's important to pull together the people that you need to produce an effective creative that solves a problem for the reader. It's a time-consuming process of working closely with the client to produce a clean design with effective messaging rather than a vanity ad that just reflects something that makes the owner feel good or significant. And we'll show you some examples of those. This is an example of a good ad creative that produces results. It's from a local restaurant in Temecula. The tragedy if owners and designers don't work together to create an effective ad is that it won't be successful and produce results. And then if the ads don't produce results, the advertiser just assumes that it's a bad media buy, when really in effect it was probably a weak ad, either a weak creative or a bad offer. Here are some important basics before you start. Ask yourself, why are you advertising? Is it for branding like Colgate or Kleenex or Coke does? Or are you communicating dominance in your market, customer education, customer loyalty, or for more business? And if it's for more business, how much more business? Are you hopeful for 5 clients over the next month, or are you on the brink of going out of business and you need 100 clients in your store this weekend? Your advertising rep needs to have a clear understanding of your needs and expectations. This is important in determining the size and offer of your ad. If you're ready to go out of business and you need people in your store tomorrow, you need to run a larger ad, probably half or full page. It needs to be a clean design, and there needs to be a compelling offer. Many owners who don't budget money to market their business typically always have money for going out of business sales. Then there's a need for a clear message. Does your ad communicate your message, or is it just a vanity ad showing bullet points of everything you do? It needs to be compelling, and it needs to be probably a lifestyle ad, or it needs to solve a problem for the customer. Remember WIFM, what's in it for me? Customers don't care about your business. They only care about what you can do for them. This is why we don't typically put your logo at the top of the ad. It's probably better at the bottom with your contact information. And you don't need your phone number in 50-point type. People will find your number if the offer is interesting. Next, you need a strategy. In ad design, sometimes the business owner has trouble separating what matters to the customers from what doesn't. If strategy doesn't come through, there's no telling what they're trying to achieve beyond more business. For a restaurant or like this vacation ad, why spend money on an empty chairs on the beachfront? The white space is good, and the message is the messaging is simple, which is good. But here the message is that the people have drank their drinks and they're already back in their rooms for a romantic night. And all of that is just way too much and too hard to figure out in 1.5 seconds. So the other thing is that people really like looking at pictures of people and animals. So make it interesting for them instead of showing a picture of an empty restaurant or an empty bar or an empty barber shop. You know, people don't care about how beautiful your place is. They want to be able to visualize themselves having fun there and making memories. So you want to have people in your ads. This limousine ad is kind of the same thing. This limo company probably feels really good about this ad because he's showing off his great vehicles in front of a city setting, but in reality, a lifestyle ad with people celebrating inside his limo would have led to more calls rather than just showing off his vehicles. There needs to be a clear message. This ad is a recent ad of ours, and it's a really well laid out ad. Besides the fact that it's a large ad, there's definitely a clear message, and it answers the question, what's in it for me? So you need to ask that. Does your ad answer the question, what's in it for me? And is it compelling? If your potential customer is a senior, you want to make sure your messaging is right. Let's look at the ad on the right that says it's in your genes. If you're wanting to reach older people, you want to be careful with using puns or a joke in your headline. You want to run it by several people to make sure it really communicates what you want and that it is funny. It's in your pants. Remember, people are visualizing what they are reading. So it's not good to create awkward ads that make people go places they don't want to go. And a better idea would have probably been something like 1 in 7 men develop prostate cancer and 1 in 28 will die from it. Then, of course, you present your company as the life-saving solution. That would have been a much better ad, I think. Then the one next to it, your wife is hot. That's actually pretty funny, I think. And that's, I think, probably women and men are the target of that ad. And humor works. You just have to make sure it really is funny. And I think that's one that's been successful. I think those billboards are probably all over the country with different heating and air conditioning people. If you're selling tires, your market is probably men. So you want to make sure you're targeting men. If your products are beauty and health aids, probably moms. So you just want to make sure that your messaging fits your audience. This is a good example of an ad that fits the demographic and the psychographic of Silvergate that we have here. The one thing that I might have done differently with this ad is to put the main message, which is safely together, below the feature visual, only because your eye always wants to go to the visual first, and you might miss the message. However, they've made the ad large enough that it's hard to miss. And safety, comfort, companionship for the senior, and the messaging is also for the decision maker, which is typically the children of the potential resident. So notice how the copy reflects the most important message of safely together, then a picture properly reflecting the service and customer, and then some details, very few, and lastly, the logo, name, and contact information. Remember, again, no one cares about your business logo or your name until they know what you can do for them. So at a glance, with orderly copy, you can accomplish that. Here's a really good ad that just started running. This one is a good example of white space is key. This is why you will see expensive full page ads with one image on the page and very little copy. Your eye knows exactly where to go and you won't miss the message. And by the way, what do you think the message is on this ad? Remember the fires that we had 10 years ago, and SDG&E paid out a lot of money for those fires. So now their messaging is, your safety is our top priority. So this was actually a good message for SDG&E. Your ad should be easy to read. Some common mistakes are large areas of reverse type and type that is too small. And also, this is an example of type that is in all caps, which is another thing that is a negative in ads. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do all caps. You don't want to do things in reverse, large blocks of text. And you always want to make sure that the ad, the font is large enough to read, especially if you have an older audience. You don't want them to have to work really hard to read the ad. You also want the architecture of the layout to be in relation to how the eye reads ads. So in our Western culture, we start with the left side and we start at the top. So you want to make sure that your ad flows that way. It starts at the top left, and either it goes to the middle and goes down, or it moves in an S fashion through the ad, ending with your information at the bottom of the page. That's where you want to end up, is you want everybody's eyes to end up on your contact information or your business name. But you want to remember that if the ad takes your eyes down, say if you put the visual in the middle of the ad, they're probably not going to go back up to read any type. So you want to make sure that you have a good orderly layout. One of the things you can do is to make sure you reduce the risk for a new customer. So money back guarantees, 1 month free trial, things like that can help bring response to your ads. And lastly, testimonial ads. These are of course ones we like because they're for us, but these are people that sold things right after their print ads came out. So testimonial ads are also a great way to advertise. And that is what we have for you.